Hi everyone, my name's Sam and welcome to Stormy Chef. Today we're going to be making creme caramel. Creme caramel is also known as flan, caramel pudding, cream pudding, and it's usually from Portugal, Spain, France, or Italy. Creme caramel is exactly what it sounds like. It's cream pudding with caramel sauce on top. Today for the caramel sauce, you're going to start with just 2 ingredients, sugar and water. And for the cream mixture, you're going to need regular milk, more sugar, 2 normal eggs, and some vanilla essence. And for the cooking equipment that you're going to need today, you'll use a small saucepan to make the caramel sauce, a measuring cup, some measuring spoons, a mixing bowl, a sieve to make sure that all of your ingredients that go into the cream mixture are silky and smooth and you don't have any big clumps of anything. And then you're going to have some tin foil and your favorite mug. I'm using this one that I used when I was a kid and I love it a lot. So you can use your favorite mug to make your creme caramel and it'll just make your dessert extra special. And then finally, you need 1 big pot that you can fill with water to make the water bath, which is how you're going to be cooking your creme caramel. So now let's measure out exactly what ingredients we need to make our creme caramel. For the caramel sauce, we're going to just use sugar and water. So for the sugar, we're going to measure out 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons of regular white sugar. So here's our tablespoon and our measuring cup and our sugar. So 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons. And that's our sugar. Now let's measure out our water. So for our water in the caramel sauce, we're just going to use 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon of water. 1 tablespoon. And 1 teaspoon of water. Great, and that's all you need for the caramel sauce. Super simple, just sugar and water. Now for the creme mixture, we're going to measure out 3 tablespoons and 1 teaspoon of regular sugar. So we're going to get our tablespoons and measure out 3 tablespoons of sugar. And then 1 teaspoon. So this is the sugar that we're going to be using for our creme mixture. Next, we're going to crack 2 eggs. And then after the 2 eggs, we're going to measure 1 cup of milk. 1 cup is also 8 fluid ounces or 220 milliliters. So I'm going to get our 1 cup. And pour to 8 milliliters. And then at the end, we're just going to add 1 teeny little bit of vanilla extract. But we're going to add that later when we do our mixing. So we'll just get that ready for later. And that's all the ingredients that you need to make your creme caramel. Alright, so now let's start the cooking. We're going to first start by making our creme caramel. So we're going to add the sugar and the water that we already measured out to our small saucepan. So sugar first, and then water. And we're going to cook the sugar and the water over medium heat. We're going to try and make sure that all of the sugar is totally hydrated so that it doesn't burn. And we're just going to cook it until the sugar first goes clear and then it turns into a dark brown. And then that's when we're going to know that our caramel sauce has been done cooking. So while we're cooking, I know that we have a younger students here today, so I want to remind you all that if you're cooking with hot sugar gets really, really hot and can burn you. So please make sure that when you're cooking today, have an adult present to make sure that you're being safe and that if you need help, they're only just one shout away. So now our sugar is starting to boil, starting to bubble. You can see that it's still clear. And the name of the game right now is you can't step away from your sugar, because the second you step away from it, it will burn. So you have to make sure that you keep a really careful eye on it at all times. Otherwise, you might burn your sugar and you might have to start all over again. We have to grab 1/8 a cup of hot water, which we're going to add immediately to the sugar mixture right after it has turned a dark brown color. So let's go get that now. So this is a 1/4 cup, so we're just gonna pour our hot water into half of it. All right, so we can see now that our sugar is starting to turn color a little bit. And when sugar boils and gets heated to 320 degrees Fahrenheit, it starts to break down. The scientific name for sugar is sucrose. And once it hits 320 degrees Fahrenheit, the sucrose starts to break down into 2 components, glucose and fructose. So the caramelization process, when we're making our caramel sauce, the reason why our sugar is turning from white to a dark brown is because the sugar is breaking down, and the fructose and the glucose are breaking down into small little bits, and that's what's creating, that's what's making our caramel sauce a nice dark and rich flavor, so it doesn't just taste like regular sugar. So we can see now that our sugar is starting to take on a little bit of color. We're just gonna keep cooking it until it hits a dark brown color. So we can see now that our sugar's really turning color. It's looking a nice roasty brown. So we're gonna put it down for just a second longer to make sure that it's a nice dark brown but not burnt before we add our 1/8 cup of hot water. After that, we're gonna turn the fire off and cover it. Alright, so while our caramel sauce is cooling, let's move on to making our creme mixture. So we're going to take the 2 eggs that we cracked earlier and also our sugar, and we're going to take a whisk and mix them all together so that it's all one homogeneous mixture. So we're whisking until we have something where you don't see any normal egg whites or egg yolks. It's all the same color. All right? Whisk. And then once everything's all together, we're going to add in our milk that we measured out earlier, 1 cup of milk, as well as just a dash of vanilla extract, just a small amount. Right? And you just keep whisking until it's all homogeneous and it all looks like just one color. So you don't see any big clumps of any one thing. So all the eggs and all the sugar and all the milk and all the vanilla is just this really beautiful pale yellow color. All right, so now that we've gotten our cream mixture all mixed together, let's divvy up our caramel sauce into our 2 mugs. So this is my mug, and this is going to be my mug for a friend. And we're just going to pour it into our personal mugs, half in each. Alrighty. So now you can let the caramel sauce cool for a few minutes so that when we put in the cream mixture on top, not the caramel and the cream mixture don't just mix up all together, so that we can still see 2 defined layers. So this is what our caramel sauce in the mugs look like right now. Alright, so now that we've got our cream mixture together and our caramel has had time to cool a little bit, let's do the assembly. So before we assemble our creme caramel, I have poured some water into this pot, which we're going to use as our water bath to gently cook the creme caramel. The reason why we use a water bath to cook the creme caramel is so that it doesn't get too many bubbles in it because it's being cooked too aggressively. The water bath will just really gently cook the eggs and the creme mixture so that it sets really beautifully without any bubbles, almost as if you're taking a soak in a bathtub. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the cream mixture that we have and we're going to pour it into our 2 little mugs. So we're going to take our sieve and our cream mixture and we're just going to gently pour the mixture into our mugs. Alrighty, maybe a little bit more. Okay, and then the remaining mixture into our second mug. Have our creme caramel mixtures poured into our personal mugs, we're going to take some tin foil or aluminum foil and cover up our mugs so that no water gets inside and disrupts them while they're cooking. So we're just going to cover them very simply like this. 1 piece of aluminum foil per mug so that the tops are fully covered. And then we're just going to gently place our mug into the water bath and the pot so that they can cook. Alrighty. So now that our 2 mugs are in there, we're going to cover them up and we're going to put our stove on at low heat for 10 minutes. So let's do that now. So the creme caramel's been cooking on low heat in our water bath for 10 minutes. So now I'm just going to turn off the heat and keep the lid on to keep all the steam stuck inside the pot. And we're gonna let it steam gently for another 10 minutes before we get to reveal our delicious creme caramels. Alright, so now that our creme caramel has been steaming in our covered pot for 10 minutes, we're gonna take the lid off and gently take our creme caramels out, making sure to use our gloves so as not to burn our fingers. So I'm going to do it really carefully to make sure that nothing falls out. Okay. So here are our 2 creme caramels. So we'll carefully take our aluminum foil off and reveal our perfectly cooked creme caramels. So in order to make sure that they are fully cooked, if you give them a little jiggle, they're still pretty solid, but they have a little bit of movement to them. So now we're gonna just put them in the fridge for 6 hours or overnight so that they can cool down and set and be ready for you to eat. Alright, so our creme caramels have been chilling overnight in the refrigerator and now's the time for the big reveal. So I'm gonna put this creme caramel aside for a friend for now, and I'm going to gently remove the aluminum foil to reveal our perfectly set creme caramel. So in order to get the creme caramel out of our very cute little mug here, we're going to take a long wooden chopstick or toothpick, or maybe just run a blunt knife around the edge, and we're just going to gently go around the edge so that the creme caramel releases from the inside of our mug. And we're going to take our plate and place it on top of our mug and then just flip. Alright, and now for the big reveal. Creme caramel, perfect. Beautiful, you can see the beautiful caramel on top and the really smooth creme pudding on the bottom. This is looking absolutely delicious and so good to enjoy with a friend. So thank you so much for joining us with Stormy Chefs today to make creme caramels. My name is Sam and I had such a great time cooking with all of you.